Hello, my name is Brad Egland, and welcome to the first installment of my new Ask the PM video series. I started this to just kind of see if there'd be interest, and so far it looks good. I've got 50 or 60 questions emailed to me in the last week or so. I'm only planning to cover 5 or 6 per session. And I'm going to try to do a couple of these a week. So I get to pick and choose, but I'll keep you anonymous, so don't worry about asking whatever you want. Nobody will know who you are, I promise. And I'm not looking for, deep dive questions necessarily. Or how to create a Gantt chart, or how to, we'll see how it evolves. But I'm more of a real world project manager, and I'm looking at kind of best practice type questions that I would like to help you with. But who knows where this goes, we'll see. And I'm also a self-employed IT consultant / project manager, and I write articles, 7,000 of them in the last 10 years, I guess. Over the last 10 years, 7,000 articles, ebooks, white papers, videos for clients and independent sites worldwide. So you can ask lots of different questions. They don't have to be PM. They can be about consulting and how to find gigs and things like that, which isn't always easy to do. But I'm happy to try to answer whatever you want to throw at me. But if it's something I really can't answer, I may skip over it. And we'll see how the videos go. If you get a lot of views and a lot of questions, I'll keep doing it. If it's kind of waning, I'll stop after a couple weeks. A little background on me. I've managed projects and teams, mostly technical, pretty much 99% technical, for 20-25 years. And I've been managed projects and teams in the public and private sector. Teams from, small teams of project teams from 5 to 6 members, to development staffs of 18 to 50. So I actually came out to Vegas in 2004 to manage a development team, and I'd never done that before except for a government contract, that we were acquiring a system from an external company that we won the contract from. So that was an interesting experience, but they liked the fact that I could manage teams and manage projects well. So it was a good mix, and that's what I managed a corporate gaming team of 18 developers. So let's see, I've managed projects and development teams and resources in gaming and casino. And by gaming, I mean hospitality, Las Vegas gaming, slots, reward systems, things like that. If you've been to Vegas, you know about the reward systems and cards. Content management systems, things like that. Projects in airlines, manufacturing, public sector projects for Department of Education and Department of Defense with highly sensitive data. So I've been background checked a lot, and I passed, so don't worry. No skeletons in my closet. So anyway, I am a father of 11. Wow, huge. Moved out to Vegas with 5 kids, 1 adopted. Now I've got 11 kids, 6 more adopted. So we have 11, 8 boys, 3 girls. Wonderful, ages 5 through 33. And 1 grandchild. So kind of a full blessed life. Love it. And the weather out here in Vegas is to die for. So you can even ask me questions about Vegas. Happy to answer them. first today, let's dive into it. I'm thinking these will last 5 to 10 minutes each. I don't want to keep you long. I don't want to bore you to death. So let's talk about it. I'm going high level for this first one. Somebody asked about kicking off a project. I'll give you my opinions there. Customer not paying invoices, that can be a sign of a project going south. Could be just an absent-minded customer. How to handle that. Tips on managing scope. We all love to do that. And somebody said they hated conducting lessons learned. Don't we all? So there's ways around that because I know that's problematic. Number one, how to kick off a project. Just high level best practices, logic steps. I'm going to use mostly examples from a company I work for that I thought did a good job of this. I would get assigned a project, and I'd start drafting a schedule from the statement of work and from the milestones in the statement of work and from what I received from the account manager. I really think project managers should be assigned earlier in the sales process so we can help put together a better estimate, better project schedules, rather than just get something tossed over the wall to you, which is usually not real good or real accurate, but you got to live with it. So you get familiar with that statement of work. You build a draft schedule out from it. Hopefully you've got a good one to pull from to start out your draft project schedule, something that worked in the past, and then build from it and put together, make sure all the milestones and deliverables that are in a statement of work or an estimate or whatever you have received are in there, and that you kind of blocked out time for the planned resources. Contact the project customer, talk to them about scheduling a formal kickoff session, usually on site where they are. They like that. But you can also do a conference call, preferably video. And then talk about what you're going to do in that call. And what you're really going to do, you're going to come in with an agenda and send all this material to them in advance so they can look it over and say add this please because I want this covered for my people. The customer might want some certain things covered, but you're going to want to go over an agenda through probably a formal deck you've put together, a presentation. You're going to talk about how you manage the project, how many people are going to be, what the milestone dates are we okay, what the next steps are, how you handle changes, that's a big one, and when you're going to meet next. So, and definitely follow up after this, but the session should be an hour, 2, 3 hours one day, or it could be a 2-day session. I don't know. Most of the projects I've managed have been a year and more than $1 million. But small projects, may only be 2-3 months, and handled in a phone call. Might be just you and the sponsor talking about this in a small project. Usually, if it's a software project of any size, it's going to be bigger than that, though. And then you go on site. You formally kick off the project with the sponsor, and whoever they bring. Make sure that you do talk to them about the number of people to bring. Kickoff session I did with a company called WW Granger that is in Chicago, I believe, and they manufacture tools and equipment. And I didn't specify that, and they brought everybody in their kitchen sink, and it should have been a 3-hour session turned into a 2-day session. It was good. It was a good project, but it was an exhausting kickoff session. Every subject matter expert you could think of on their side was there. So set boundaries. Tell them to bring 3 or 4 people to make this more successful and less time consuming. Because it turned into like a requirement session almost, and it's not what you want. That's what was next. And like I said, send them the packet in advance, let them comment on it, edit it, and do whatever you plan to do next with them. Go on site for a day or two, or do a call. And if you have, for me, it was always just me and senior leadership, a couple of people. I'm usually vice president or the CEO, depending on how big the project was. Or you might have a business analyst to tag along with you and help run that. If you do have a BA assigned at the time, take them with you. Because if any technical stuff comes up, you can get that captured. And that's a start on business processes and functional design and stuff right there in that kickoff session. You're a step ahead. Okay, second question. Customer not paying invoices. Had that happen with one company, and it just was, they didn't realize it. Their project leader didn't realize that they weren't getting around to paying invoices. There was no problem with the project, but it could be that they're not satisfied with something. So if you've got a couple of deliverables that haven't been paid and you haven't heard any feedback either way, contact them, because it may be a sign that they really aren't satisfied with something but don't have time to reach out or don't know how to. And you want to rectify that. You don't want to hide behind a rock. So it's okay. Don't bug the heck out of them, but contact them. Discuss it one-on-one with the person in charge. Don't take it up with their accounting team. But he may send you to accounting to handle it or to send them an email, and that's fine. I mean, as an independent self-employed contractor or consultant, I don't get on the phone very often with people. When I do, I've got a great product, the Jabra Talk 55 ear. It's great for listening to music while I'm working during the day. It's a Bluetooth headset, just goes in one ear, and its clarity in the battery life is awesome. They sent me one to review, the Eclipse a while back, like 5 years ago, and they sent me the Talk 55 to review, and the sound quality is really good, so I highly recommend that. And they're also sending me a tabletop conference phone here that I don't doubt it's the 510 series, I think. But I don't doubt the quality will be great on. Battery life is to die for. So anyway, but call and take care of it. And when you have calls, kickoff sessions, anything with the client, ask them, when you're using a headset, ask them how the clarity is, because the last thing you want is that they don't hear stuff or miscommunicate with you. Tips on managing scope. Let's see. It's not fun. The first thing is get your BA involved and have a detailed, down and dirty requirement session where you understand their business processes and they come at you with requirements. Sometimes I've had customers throw what they say are all their requirements, and that's not the case. You don't even know if they know what they need. You have to rip through it and find out if they're giving you a symptom of the problem or the change or whatever has to happen, or they're telling you what really needs to be built. Usually they're only halfway there. So you got to dive into those requirements. If they don't understand the end product, get them trained a little bit so they know what they're dealing with, because if they just hear you say it, they're just going to nod and have this clouded look on their face. We had one situation where my BA was crying because they thought they knew what they were doing and they didn't know the system, and we had to stop the project and get them training on the system so we could have a productive requirement session and a functional design session. Otherwise, it was just a mess. So we delayed the project a couple weeks, and they got training, and we took off from there, and it was way better. Manage scope. Don't be afraid to call up change orders when necessary, and get your team's estimate. But hopefully, as a project manager on the technical projects, you have some tech background, and I'm a pretty good estimator, so I can call them on it and do a little deeper dive into the estimate. We can tweak it if we need to, because you don't want to overcharge the customer. You want to get your revenue, but you don't want to overcharge them and upset them early on for work that needs to be done. So let's see, the final one that I'm going to cover today, I hate lessons learned. So it's not really a question, it's more of a statement, and don't we all? I found that like on 57% of projects in a survey I did a few years back, nobody was doing lessons learned, and only on 10% more were hardly any of them doing lessons learned. So, problem is you plan it into the schedule, and by the time the project is rolling out, everybody is either so focused on the handoff, or they're off to the next project, because oftentimes we have 5 or 6 projects going on, and we're getting another one handed to us. So I am a firm believer in what I do now is kind of do lessons learned along the way at major phases, major deliverable handoffs, major milestones, and say, okay, let's schedule an hour discussion. How are we doing? It could be an add-on to your next formal weekly status call, and you should have those. Or it could be something you build into the schedule, which I highly recommend, at each deliverable point. Say, how are we doing? And what's good, what's bad? Because it's nice to take the knowledge into the next project. It's even better to improve how you're performing on the current project. It only takes an hour for 5 or 6 people. I realize that's $150 an hour per resource, maybe. Depending on what you're charging out, that may be $750 for 5 resources to sit for an hour with your client, plus their costs on their side, but it's well worth it. What you save or what you gain for the next 11 months or 10 months or 8 months or whatever on the project. Okay, so I hope you found this interesting. I hope you understood what I said. Not that you can't understand, but I was clear. Sometimes I talk too fast or whatever, if you listen to my wife. So tell me what you think of this. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel, B. Eglin Consulting, on YouTube. And I don't have a copy of my book, but you can buy my latest book, and it's called Real World Project Manager's Guide to the Successful Project, and there's links